Welcome back to the Tidarium Hangar. This is Mike, and happy Friday, everybody. Today I'm going to talk to you about the upcoming Masterpiece reveals. Well, we got some stuff from TFCon. We got some stuff after TFCon, but I had to make my video Monday talking about the G.I. Joe Classified stuff, and there's going to be a lot more G.I. Joe Classified topics coming, because it's not right. But anyway, we've got some TFCon stuff to talk about. We've got some AfterCon stuff to talk about. And we got some breaking news from X-Transbots that has to be discussed. We're going to talk about all of this. Fanstoys, MMC, X-Transbots. Coming up. First off, talking about the Outback from Fanstoys. This figure actually does look pretty good. It surprised me they were making it, but then after a few minutes of thinking, it makes sense. Now, I think this is the first figure that they're jumping on the bandwagon of the figures and characters that are based off the same mold, but have some retooling to it. See, in the past, they've made some recolors of their Dinobots, like 3 or 4 different colors, G2 and X and Shiny and all this kind of stuff. They've also repainted their Phoenix, their Skyfire. They've also repainted their Cyclonus. They've repainted the Galvatron. They've repainted a lot of their figures, but they haven't remolded the figures just yet that I know of, so this is going to be the first venture into this. So getting into it, it does look pretty good, and when it comes out, it will be the best looking, but what does it really compare to right now? What's on the market right now that dominates as an Outback? Well, it is, drumroll please, Bad Cube. Bad Cube is the only real Outback out there that is a Masterpiece representation. All the rest of them are posers. So this one is going to get kicked to the curb when Fanstoys comes out, simply because the Fanstoys one looks a little bit better, a little bit sleeker. Now, I did not like the Bad Cube Brawny, the Brawn, and as soon as I got my hands on Final Victory, I actually got rid of my Brawny, and it was way before Fanstoys came out with their Brawn, so it was easy to get rid of that thing at the time. Now, I gotta say that this figure from Fanstoys looks good, but there are still things and aspects to enjoy about the Bad Cube Brawny. I think Bad Cube Brawny, or whatever they're calling their Outback version, was better than their Brawny. It represented the character better. It was a little taller because of the headpiece and all that kind of stuff. So, getting back into Fanstoys, you can see where the differences are from their Brawn figure, and it looks good. It looks okay. The pointy toes, that's interesting, and the front, well, basically everything from the pelvis up to the head seems to be a little bit remolded and different, but the sharing of a lot of parts to make it worthwhile is pretty good, and I think the shoulder pieces are a little bit different too. Here's the alt mode. I think the alt mode looks good. I mean, I don't really think the alt mode really is any better than what Bad Cube did, so I'm going to post the Bad Cube off to the side here, and the Bad Cube one looks okay. Now, for the most part, it's more like the toy, in my opinion, than like a real world car or even the animation, but they have to go off something, and it does sort of match the toy a little bit closer than maybe the real world and maybe the cartoon. So that's the way I feel about it. It looks good, it looks fine. Let's move on. Next up, we got Powerglide, and it's Powerglide. The weird thing about this FT54 is that I don't know if it's better than the DX9. And the other weird thing is that every single thing Fanstoys showed is a replacement figure. So, will this one replace your DX9 Richtofen you have in your display? Now, the DX9 Richtofen, I felt like it was a little bit too short, in my opinion, but I was impressed by the design, the aesthetic, and I wished it was a little taller. It's going for a mini-bot, even though I really feel like this character should be bigger than a mini-bot. I don't really think he should be subjected to mini-bot status for the rest of eternity. But looking side by side, I don't really think Fanstoys is that much better. Like, we think Fanstoys will blow everything out of the water. So let me point out what doesn't blow out of the water: the feet. I thought the DX9 Richtofen feet were kind of bad in the first place, but I saw like a mistransformed version, and this is actually properly transformed, and I think the feet on Richtofen blow Fanstoys away already. Now, there's a couple of other things. The lower legs are better on the Fanstoys, and the thighs are about equal, and then moving up to the arms, now I still feel like Richtofen does the arms better, And when it comes to the chest piece, maybe the chest piece gives you that V. And I don't know about the wings. I gotta have it at hand. But overall, I don't really think this blows the Richtofen out of the water. And for what is now going to be $150, now I gotta say, it might not only be $150, it might be more, because they're saying it's a 9-inch long in the alt mode. How tall will the bot mode be? The size of the bot mode sort of commands the price. I don't want this thing to shoot up to like the $220 mark. So here it goes in alt mode, and the alt mode looks pretty good. It looks pretty solid. It looks like a rattler. You're going to get your rattler and get on. No, it's a little bit different design than a rattler, but it matches a few of the aesthetics there. So looking at this overall, I do kind of like it. It looks pretty good, but how well does it stack up to the Richtofen? And I do think it still beats the Richtofen. Overall, I know the Richtofen did a blue rattler version. No, was that X-Transbots did a blue rattler version, so that's why I keep wanting to go back to rattler. So it wins in the alt mode department, and I'll admit that, but I display mine in bot mode, so that kind of takes priority for me. So let's just sweep into the next figure reveal that they had. Sweeps. And we knew it was going to happen. Like, it should have happened a year ago or 2 years ago, but here it comes. They're making Scourge, the sweeps. They call it just the sweeps. They don't call it even Scourge or anything like that. So it looks good. There's a couple of things that I'm going to discuss when we get to a comparison with the X-Transbots version, but overall it looks good. I think the alt modes are comparative, so I probably won't even compare those. But looking at the bot mode, I'm sure it's going to be taller. I think X-Transbots was a little bit too small. And I think that when you make a replacement item, the biggest topic of discussion is how does it compare to the replacement? So I guess we're going to have to do that right now. So looking at them side by side with Fanstoys on the left, the Fanstoys looks good. But what I kind of feel from Fanstoys, sort of, is a lot of sharp edges. And that X-Transbots feels a little smoother. But you can go back and forth and point to point and kind of match those points up, and they all still have sharp edges and smoothness to them, so that kind of gets thrown out in a way. You can look at how the lower legs on X-Transbots go much higher, and I kind of like that versus the Fanstoys, but overall, the Fanstoys one will probably be taller, probably have better paint, and it'll present better, so there's good and bad points to each one of these, but I don't think everybody's going to upgrade. I don't think everybody's going to sell off their X-Transbots to buy the Fanstoys on this one. These trade-ups, these trade-offs are maybe not as good as getting actual new characters. So anyway, there's the alt mode. It looks pretty clean. It's pretty smooth. It's pretty clean. I just figure I'd show it again. And the X-Transbot one is every bit as good and clean. It's not that big of a deal. I won't be seeing alt mode very much in mine, maybe just for the review. I like the bot modes. So the big reveal of this con was the Headmaster, the Autobot Headmaster. So they're not just revealing Chrome Dome. They're not going, oh, we're going to do Chrome Dome, nothing else. When Fanstoys reveal something like this, they're revealing they're doing them all. They're not going to step into this and only do one. They're not going to step into Minibots and just make one. They're not just going to make Spindrift 1.0 and nothing else. They're not going to make Chrome Dome and nothing else. They're going to make them all. But let's do a quick comparison. I'm going to tell you what I think about why they did Chrome Dome. First, it's a double-edged sword. Y'all didn't know edged was a word. So here we are looking at Chrome Dome. On the left is Fanstoys, on the right is Make Toys. And there's no doubt, I mean, Fanstoys is going to win hands down versus Make Toys. But I spent $80 on my Make Toys. It's a Yes model. They're going to command $220 if the prices have not gone up by the time these go on to $230 or $240. So $220 right now is the budget price for that scale of a figure, and hopefully it's not $250 or $260 or whatever nonsense by the time it goes up for pre-order. So looking at these side by side, I don't think this is triple the value from what they gave us for Make Toys. You can decide yourself. We can pick it apart. I know it's cleaner. It looks better. Yes. But is it triple the value? Okay, well, here's the alt mode. It looks good. And Fanstoys does great work. These things look great. I really think this should come out like $130, but I'll keep saying that because I really think that's the value on this thing, and it's going to be $220. So the size, scale, and it's size right in scale with the other figures they charge you $24 nowadays. But it looks good. It looks great. I'm sure they're going to incorporate the way that the Headmaster will fit inside the cockpit and all that kind of stuff, inside the driver's seat or whatever. Alright, so one of two reasons why they put this one out first. They should have done Brainstorm and Highbrow because everybody needs that for their collection. 90% of collectors that are serious about collecting Masterpiece already have the first two from Make Toys. They already have the Chrome Dome. They already have the Hardhead. So this is one of two things. Either they want to stomp out the competition, or they want to encourage Make Toys to get out their Brainstorm and their Highbrow before Fanstoys comes out. Now, maybe Make Toys will say, hey, we're sitting on this. We've put thousands of hours worth of work into it. Let's just get it out before Fanstoys just demolishes us, and we can still get some sales and sell through it. Or it'll discourage them. They'll never make it. And sadly, it's 5 years till we get those figures. So it kind of sucks that we can't complete our Autobot Headmasters for 5 years because Fanstoys started it. That sucks. So one thing about Fanstoys I must touch on here is the fact that they only use TFCon as a place for new reveals. They did not give updates on existing projects, and most collectors want to know what's going on with combiners now. I think there's two things going on with combiners. Number one, they still can't figure out the weight distribution and how to make this stuff combine properly, work properly, and hold up their reputation at the same time. We have yet to see a prototype of either of their combiners. There are two combiners going at once, which I felt that was a bad idea, and I think they were throwing their weight around, their clout around, and they just wanted to hold up a big reputation and a big ego instead of making logical business decisions and doing one combiner at a time. They both combine differently. There's no shared parts in the combinations of it because they are different types of combiners. So that was a bad idea from the get-go, and I've been saying it from the get-go, and now we're kind of struggling with this. So the second end of this double-edged sword that we're going to suffer from this whole combiner debacle, and I was going to make an entire video about it, but it really is only going to be a 5-minute video, and I don't make 5-minute videos anymore. The thing about this is that the other edge of this sword is what happens if they don't combine. If you bought into Fanstoys combiners, and you passed on X-Transbots, you passed on DX9, you passed on Zeta, and you said, hey, I'm all in on Fanstoys for my combiners, and they don't combine. If they never give you an ability to combine these things, then what? I think they look great on the shelf as standalone figures or in their alt mode, but if they don't combine, or if they combine and it doesn't perform well, it doesn't hold together well, it doesn't hold up well, then what? I mean, that's a big topic of discussion that I really probably should have had already by now, but I'm kind of curious that I thought we would have knocked out one by now and almost had the other, or maybe had both by now, and we don't have either, not even a prototype. All we have is old renders from 2 years ago. Think about that. But moving on to some better news, I'm happy about the Fanstoys reveals, but they're all replacements. They're all replacements. They're all cannibalizing other people, other companies. That's not where we should be right now in 2021, going into 2022, or when 2023 when they come out. So looking at MMC says, hey, the fan voice really wants more of this. I can't tell you how many people say they want to get the MMC Sky Lynx, but it's too costly on the secondary market. It's too expensive. Here you go. You get them both. They're going to be evidently released separately again, but in Toon colors. And I want to say a few things about this. First of all, I think it looks great, and I don't feel like it's too stylized like some people say. I think it looks very G1-esque. But with the recoloring, it's even more G1-esque. So the biggest complaint that I get about this is that people say it's not big enough. And I feel like, yes, that is a valid complaint. It's not big enough to be scale, but I wouldn't want it any bigger. I wouldn't want it an inch bigger because it's already so big. Where are you going to put this guy in? And I really don't feel like this is, in my opinion, the top tier character in a collection. And it shouldn't take up too much space. I think it's appropriately sized for a masterpiece and not to take up too much space. So the whole it's not big enough doesn't really fly for me. Here it is all combined up, and you have to admit it looks good. It is the best looking version of Sky Lynx that we've gotten hands down from any company, including Hasbro, including the last Commander class, which I have that, but this still kills the Commander class. Yes, it is triple the price of the Commander class though, but it is worth it in the end, and if you miss out on this one, secondary market's going to be wild in the future. So MMC did show off more of their Steeljaw and talk about how it's coming in the future. It's going to be the first one out of the gate. Now, Peg for Life did a live stream on this. I was on that live stream watching him transform it. It's a little complex and odd how it transforms, but when you watch it, it makes sense. It's interesting. The corners of the tape combined to make it look like his head's coming out of the corner of the tape, and it makes kind of an expansion piece. But it's cool how they do it. And it's coming out next, but I want to say that I want the rest of them to come. And I'm excited for this because these are the best cassettes and scale well, and it makes me excited for the next blaster we get. So I don't know if you guys picked up on the cues or the hints that X-Transbots was dropping with their Virtues, and they had, with their Springer, they have a little Springer figure from the Only Human episode, and they also kind of hinted with all the other figures from the Only Human that there was going to be an Ultra Magnus. Guess what? They just revealed Ultra Magnus, and I think it looks good. So, back and forth on this, I really feel like every Ultra Magnus is a little too stocky, and this one carries a little bit too stocky, but he's slimmer, sleeker, a little bit better than what Takara did with the Masterpiece, so it's a worthwhile venture. Looking at them side by side with Masterpiece. If this didn't look a little bit better, or a lot better than Masterpiece, X-Transbots was wasting their time. But you look at a few things that they did better. Like, look at the lower legs. They are slimmer, not much, but a little bit slimmer. And they align properly where the Takara one kind of has extra bulkiness behind it. It doesn't feel like it aligns to a leg. It's just different components coming together. Now, looking at the abdominal area on the X-Transbots, it's tighter and more sleek and more heroic looking. And looking at the shoulders, they work better, and the arms are slimmer, and the waist is slimmer, and it just looks a little bit better. So it's maybe 20-25% better than what Takara did, but that might be worth it in the end, and a lot more too. Now, just looking at this figure, he looks pretty good, and he's articulated. I think you're going to get more articulation, better ways to pose this guy than you did with the Takara version, and he's going to come with a slew of different faces and a whole bunch of different stuff, but I think he looks pretty good. Let's see how big he is. Here he is compared to X-Transbot's Optimus. No, that's Takara's MB-44, sorry. X-Transbot's not making a prime, by the way. Anyway, looking at him side by side, this looks appropriately scaled, sized, and works right. Here's the alt mode, and I think the alt mode is pretty well landed with all the other versions, but this one looks good too. It looks super clean. Makes me wonder how challenging it will be. Anything with the trailer and X-Transbots scares the dickens out of me. There's also this kind of opening front part. I don't know if it's removable or just folds open or whatever, but you can fit a figure in there. Maybe it's the only human figures that fit in there, and you can see the doors open and all that. Maybe that's just a cutaway, but it looks pretty good. So anyway, what figures are exciting to you? What reveals excite you? What reveals bore you? What are you going to get in on? What are you going to pass on? What do you look forward to? Let me know in the comments below. Like and subscribe, and Titanium Hanger out.